Hi there. I'm still not used to this Zoom application. At the moment, what I'm doing is trying to upload everything raw and organic without having to edit anything. So that's why you're probably going to see me look at the computer for a bit. Anyway, hi, how is everyone? Wow, the Great Awakening is well underway and pretty phenomenal, I would say. I don't know about you, but I've got members of my family waking up and it's wonderful to see. Oh yes, actually on that subject, let me just show you something that is just amazing. So this is my, sorry, I've got a slow phone as well. Reason being, as you probably are aware, as I've told you all before, regarding my sensitivity to EMFs. So I've got an old, cheap phone and it's very slow so that I can deal with looking at it. My son-in-law, newly awakened. I say newly awakened, he's been aware for a while that things aren't as they should be, but he's, you know, like everybody else, busy and focused on work. And since the virus and lockdown, massive awakening has taken place. And look at that. This is his works jacket. I hope you can see that okay. I haven't shown anything to the camera before, so I hope, hang on, let me just see if you are actually looking at that. No. Let's have a look again. Okay, so that is his works jacket. Probably can't see it that well, but it's, you know, one of those yellow jackets that he has to wear at work. And look what he's designed on the back of it. There's a Q, a big Q. It's just amazing to me that that's my son-in-law, married to my daughter. You know, I shouldn't be smiling, I guess. On the one hand, it's amazing. And I'm smiling because they've woken up, and it's what we who have known about all this for so long have wanted for so long. But there's a downside to the awakening, as I have spoken about before, and that is the shock and the very difficult emotions people go through when they discover what's happened. And the awakening has so many levels to it. You wake up to one thing and you think that's the whole conspiracy. You wake up to another one, you think, oh my goodness, that's going on as well, and you still haven't scratched the surface. Then you wake up to a whole next level and you're like, that can't be true. And then you discover that that is, and then you discover there's something else. So the Great Awakening is massive personally, as you have to go through multiple layers within your awakening, and it's massive on a sort of time level globally, because different people are waking up at different times, and we still have a large group of people that are not yet awake. I'm going to talk more about the Great Awakening and what's going on, but before I do that, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. So yes, that's my son-in-law's jacket, and I just think it's amazing. And to think somebody can become awakened in a period of 2 to 3 weeks to the point where they know regarding the situation, they have knowing within 3 weeks. From awakening to 3 weeks, they can find that knowing. Of course, you are looking at starseeds and indigos that fast track because the knowing was already there before they were born. But yeah, that was wonderful. I had to show you that. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to say thank you so much to everybody who has made donations to me recently. Since the last few videos that I've done, I have received some donations in, and they're most unexpected, and well, they're just wonderful, and I just thank you so much. I have sent everybody a personal thank you. However, some of the emails bounced, so you won't have got a personal thank you from me. I've tried to send it, it just keeps bouncing. So maybe you're like me, your inbox is completely full of emails like mine. So anyone who hasn't got a personal thank you from me, I have actually tried to send you one. I've sent every single person that's donated to me a personal thank you. So I will keep trying, but I'm getting a few bounced emails. So, you know, I'm just saying thank you to you now. It's just wonderful and very touching and most unexpected. And wow, I just, you know, massive gratitude, massive love. Thank you so much. Okay, another thing I'd like to address, the videos that I've been making over the last, you know, couple of weeks or so since all this happened. I've been doing videos where I'm talking directly to the camera, a bit more than I normally do. And I've had a few people comment and emails come in as well, saying that they are hearing very dark, deep, demonic sounds, to the point where some people are saying these are demons that are around me. And I have actually had one person write to me and actually told me exactly where in the video the demon was. So what I'd like to say here is, number one, I use a snowball microphone. This is my mic. So it's picking up my sound as I'm talking, but it's also right by the window. And my window's not open today. It's not so warm today, but I have had the window open. I live right by a main road. I've got cars going past all the time. So that's what you're hearing, the constant noise of the traffic coming through my window. And the lady who wrote in and told me where the demon was, that was a motorbike. So what I'm saying to you is, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You can make of it what you will. And, you know, some people can say, oh, these are demonic sounds from the traffic and the motorbike. It means it's a real demon. All I can say to you is, there is such a lot of light and higher dimensional energy around me when I do my videos, from the 9, and now recently from other beautiful higher dimensional, fantastic, advanced beings that are angelic and extraterrestrial and ultra dimensional and futuristic and whatever word you want to give them. I have so much light from them. There are no demonic entities around me when I'm making videos. If I do have any kind of interaction with a demonic entity, that is something that I do personally, and it's all part of my own growth anyway. I don't have a problem with interacting with demonic entities occasionally. They're part of our own teaching as well. I've spoken about this before, but no, when I'm making videos to you, these are simply the traffic coming in. As I said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and we have to stay grounded. We are not going to go through this process. Ascension, while in the middle of a New World Order attempted takeover, we are not going to go through an ascension process if we're ungrounded. I had people also write to me saying that my backdrop, you can see my backdrop at the moment, is this beautiful blue dragon. I've had people write to me about my last backdrop, which is a blue backdrop with a blue butterfly. I had people write to me saying that the blue butterfly is the symbol for MK Ultra. Now, number one, I didn't know that. I'm not that studied in MK Ultra, to be honest with you. I know what they do because the 9 have shown me the extent of what is done on that brainwashing level. But MK Ultra isn't something I've researched. A lot of people have found this information out through extensive research and moving into their own knowing with that. My information comes in from a different sort of method. Everything comes from the 9 usually, and then I find it afterwards. So MK Ultra isn't something I have delved into, but I understand about it from the 9. So the blue butterfly, I wasn't aware that that was any kind of symbol. Now, what I will say is, a butterfly is a symbol of transformation. It's a symbol of ascension, and the color blue is the throat chakra, being able to speak your truth, present your voice. So having blue around me is a beautiful, wonderful color. Having a blue butterfly, that's our symbol. That's a symbol of light. These symbols have been hijacked by the dark forces, and we are reclaiming them all. So I'm sorry if you think that the blue butterfly is, I mean, somebody said that's not a symbol you want on your screen. Yes, it is. And I will be having my blue butterfly back, and it will be on There is my backdrop, and it is not a dark symbol, it is a light symbol that's been hijacked, and we are reclaiming these symbols back. Today I have a dragon. If you have a problem with dragons, if you think that they symbolize reptilians, this is all stuff you have to work out yourself. Dragons are wonderful and beautiful. The dragon energy, I explained all that in my last video about the 3-step process and the dragon and the symbology. There are many starseeds working with dragon energy. Now I have another backdrop which shows a beautiful goddess on a hill in Glastonbury with the Glastonbury tour, and I had people write to me saying not nasty things about that image, but that it doesn't make me look credible, really, with a big Glastonbury goddess. I am not here to look credible, okay? If I don't look credible in the eyes of one group or several groups, that's absolutely fine. My role is not to look credible. My role is to deliver you the messages that I receive and share with you my perspective. If you don't think I'm credible, that's your decision to make. So I'm going to carry on with my goddess and the beautiful Glastonbury tour, my blue butterfly, my blue dragon, and any other backdrop that I feel is in alignment with me, my energy, and my work. So I hope I've cleared that up. Okay, so let's get into some questions here. Quite big questions. First one, what do we do when we are newly awakened and we discover the SRA? As in, I've got to be careful here because there are words that are being tracked now in videos. So I don't want to lose I don't want my videos to be taken down. I can't help anyone if they are through that platform. And I don't really want to lose my channel. So SRA are the initials for what is occurring to the children. And what has been occurring to the children for many years. This information can be found in many of the videos and film series presented for the newly awakened. So I'm going to talk in code here. We're looking at the fairy story, the children's story, Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel go to the forest, and a wicked witch takes Hansel and Gretel and puts them in a cage and feeds them bones, and you know the story. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what do they eat? What food is their favorite food? I think you know where I'm going. So now you've got what I'm saying. When you discover all this, specifically also the substance that is consumed by the dark magicians, dark elite, they consume a certain substance within this whole SRA and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle food. I hope you're with me. What happens when you discover this and you move into that knowing where everything adds up? Because as you go through this discovery, some people can have this information given to them and they will be, well, I don't believe that, or it doesn't ring true to me, or I don't know what to think, but knowing is something different. It's when everything adds up in your mind, in your emotional body, and you know it's true. When you come to that realization, especially when you're newly awakened, and if you are an indigo individual, this will be a quick awakening for you, and you will come to that knowing. You know it's true. How do you deal with that when you are a young mother who is raising children? So every day right now you're in your house on lockdown on your own with your kids, and you're looking at your 8-year-old or your 4-year-old or your 2-year-old or your newborn baby. You're looking at them and you are seeing their innocence and their beauty and their absolute divine wonder. They are our future, and you love them so much, and then you find out this information. How do you deal with that? All I can say is that is a really, really tough one, and every single person who's come across this information will have gone through what you are going through now. I have gone through what you are going through now. I might not look like it right now because I'm delivering this information to you, and I'm not sat here in floods of tears falling apart. That's because I've had to get myself to a place where I've been able to talk about this without falling apart. And that's another thing other people will say. How can you talk about this information? How can you deliver this information and look so cool, calm, and collected? When this information came to me, which was from the 9, I think I have discussed this before, when the 9 started to tell me about the dark deeds, that's basically what they told me, dark deeds. I'm like, well, what's that then? Crimes against humanity. Okay. Terrible, dark, awful things. Okay, I'm hearing you. They want to prevent your ascension. That got me. I'm like, what? When they first told me this, I remember thinking, why would anyone want to prevent our ascension? It's like what we have to do as a human being. Why would anyone want to stop it? So in the early days, this is what I got. And a lot of the information came out in the transmissions, in the channeling that I'm delivering to you. Things like the dark controllers are doing this and doing that and have done this. And it was all very metaphoric. And I would go away and think, what do they mean? And then it got to a point where I wanted to see, I wanted them to show me what they have done. And they would say, you're not ready. I would try to remote view. They would stop me. They would explain to me why I couldn't see, why I wasn't ready. And I listened to them. So it was 6 years. I got online in 2008, and it was 6 years of delivering this information before I fully saw what I'm talking about here in a visionary capacity. So I had the knowing already because the 9 had already told me, but I didn't know what dark deeds, machinations and plots and crimes against humanity were. I didn't know what they were. I knew that they were happening, but I didn't know what they were. So 6 years into delivering this information online, they allowed me. They said I was ready now. And I think they wanted me to be in a situation where I wouldn't fall apart in total grief, because they needed me to continue working. And I'd already started working. I was already a conduit for them, and quite innocent really when I first started, because for me it was very much like, I know this is my destiny and I want to work for you in whatever way you need me to. Tell me what to do, I'll do it. And it was very open-hearted and a pledge to the light. I didn't know at that time it would mean delving deep into the dark. I didn't know that. So all of this, you will know. If you've been on this journey, you will know. So I was taken through a series of visions, and even those visions weren't showing me everything that you can find out if you look on the internet. But some of those visions are things you can't find on the internet. They were enough to put me into this situation where you are faced with this knowing. I didn't break down in a state of not being able to cry and not being able to stop crying for days, but I was shell-shocked. I sat for days staring into space, couldn't process it, and didn't want to go out the house, didn't want to talk to anyone. Yes, I cried, of course, but I didn't break down in a grief sense, because I kind of knew anyway. I was prepared somewhat, and then I saw what it was, and the only way that I could work with this was to do something about it. I can't just sit back and think, okay, I know what's going on, but I'm going to carry on with my life and just kind of forget about it, sweep it under the carpet. It's like, well, what can I do? And the 9 work, continue with your work, continue to bring our messages through. So what I'm doing isn't just for that issue, but on a physical level, it's probably the most difficult issue to deal with. And what I would say to you is, when you are learning this, if you allow your emotions to go into the awareness of what you're learning, I'm not saying letting your emotions go in is a bad thing. Allow your emotions to go into this. When you're looking at your own children and then looking at this information, the emotions run deep, and you are looking at extreme trauma and grief, disbelief, horror. And the number one feeling is, how can I make this not be true? What can I do so that this isn't true? And when you're in knowing, it's not possible to do that. You can't go back. You have to then face that it's true and break down. So your emotions are involved, and that's all fine because you need to get your emotions involved in order to integrate them. So you integrate all those emotions, and it'll bring up your own shadow and your own stuff. Your mind will be blown and your emotions are all over the place. Just go through the process. But when it comes to delivering this information to others, you cannot go there with the emotions. If you know, phone someone up or get on Zoom and like, oh, guess what I've just found, and it's awful, and break down. That's not a good way to deliver the information to that person, because everyone who wakes up becomes part of the Great Awakening. You will then feel as though you need to pass this information on. And absolutely, that's how it works. This is a domino effect. If you look at dominoes, you knock one domino over and then all the other dominoes fall. This is also the snowball, a little snowball going down a hill with snow, and it gathers more and more momentum and more snow as it goes down. So it can't be stopped. You're part of that domino effect. You're one of those dominoes. You're part of that snowball. You're part of the snow that adds to the snowball. So yes, you will want to deliver this information to others. And the way forward is to, I'm not saying remove your emotions. You can't do that. That makes you cold, and it makes you intellectual only without heart. And that is service to self. That's what they are. They don't have heart. They have intellect and power. We have third eye chakra, brow chakra, and the solar plexus chakra, but they don't have heart. We don't do that. We remain in compassion. We have to find a way to be able to teach this to others in a gentle way without triggering them falling apart, although we know that that is potentially going to happen when they move into knowing. So it is a supportive delivery. If you found this information out through one of the videos out there, I would say that it's been delivered in the most supportive way it possibly could be. Maybe it's not always presented that way, but its intention should be that, and it's still not going to prevent you from going into that awareness and that grief, because especially when you're a young mother, what I will say is that, you know, men go through this too. They're not mothers, but they're fathers. Now what they feel is protection. It's my role to protect this woman and these children, is the kind of most usual way the male will feel. So what can I do? What can I do to make a difference? And everyone can do something to make a difference. And that is to stand up and, number one, use your voice. If you don't want to use your voice, where is your creativity? What can you do to assist? It could be something as simple as growing seeds in the garden and giving them to your friends, because you can't buy them in the shops anymore, so that they can plant seeds and grow vegetables. It can be something as simple as putting information into artwork, delivering the truth in a picture. You could write a song and sing it. I mean, there are just so many ways. You don't have to be on the front line with the information, or you simply just tell a few people. You speak to them on your social media or on phone or Zoom or Skype. So what can you do? Staying grounded will assist you. So staying grounded, I do have a video on how to be grounded, so go and find that. But what I would say is, don't immerse yourself in this. Take a step back, go back to normal life in the best way you can. I know that's very difficult while we're on lockdown, but watch a film, read a book, play a game with the children, chat to your auntie about the weather, go for a walk, and then come back to it again. Try not to let it all be taken in one go. The emotions you feel have to be integrated. In my book, Masters of the Matrix, channeled from the Nine, this is what that book is about. It's about integration of emotion. So it's integrating the emotions, and there are steps to do that. So rather than taking up a lot of time in this video, that information is in that book as to how to integrate emotions. So it's finding a resolution within, and there is no real resolution, but when you take a stand as in, okay, what can I do? What little can I do so that I am making a difference, so that I'm supporting this movement in some way? Every single person that wakes up to this truth can do something. You can go and find more information. You can move into meditation and ask for visionary experiences. Many people don't want that. They don't want to have that. It's not easy to have visionary experiences within. It's somewhat easier, I guess, to see it on a video or a film or read it in an article. It's not easy when it's coming through your own mind. Especially if you aren't focused in what is a random vision and what's a real one. So you need to have lots of sort of grounding and teaching there. That's what the 9 have been teaching. All my videos teach this process, how to move into that. Your pineal gland is your visionary technology within. It's a camera, it's a television screen, it's a photocopier. You can do all of these things with your pineal gland. You can access information. That's what the Great Awakening is all about. It's not just about finding out the dark deeds and what they are and going through the emotional reactions to them. It is about awakening in multiple ways. And this is affecting, this Great Awakening isn't just Earth, as you know. This is affecting the solar system, the galaxy, all the planets, and our entire time-space reality, which encompasses many, many other timelines and quantum realities and fields and beings, and it's huge. It's huge. So what can you do? When you're really that upset, I think you have to let yourself go through the emotions. You have to allow yourself to feel them. Feel them. Don't feel bad. You're not doing anything wrong. You sitting there feeling these grief emotions, that's normal. You wouldn't be a compassionate human if you didn't go through that, especially if you are a young mother with children. So go through those emotions and just know that there are millions of others who've been there. You can't see them right now because you're locked away in your house, but I've been there where you are, and millions of others have. Millions. We are all with you. We're not there with you in your house, but we've got your back on this. We've got your back on this. And do you know what? All of this will be worth it if Hansel and Gretel are released from that cage. All of this will be worth it. The other side to look at this is, you have discovered this information now. You are ahead of the curve. You are ahead of the game. You might think you're newly awakened and you've come late to the game, because we've all known about this for sort of 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 50 years, many lifetimes, however you want to see it. But no, you are ahead of the curve. Why? Because this information is not mainstream. This information is not out there yet. Will it be? Yes. To the point where the world finds out. More or less the entire world. There's going to be a few that wish to deny and cannot accept. They're in the minority. The majority of the world will know and go through what you're going through now. So you're prepared ahead of the game. So when all your friends, your family, your loved ones, or people across the world that you want to help, then you can help them. You might not see that now when you've only just found all this out, but you can help them in the way that I'm helping you. That is the domino effect. That's what this is all about. It's a mass awakening to the truth, and it is changing the status quo. It is stopping these things. They are not to happen anymore, and they will not. So if you've discovered this information now, you're not really discovering information that is ongoing in a sense that this is carrying on in the way it was. It's not. It may be going on, but it's going on in much smaller degrees. The majority of this has been stopped and prevented, which is the reason why they are creating pandemonium, chaos, fear, viruses, lockdowns. That's why, because that's been taken away from them. Now, why they're doing it and why they want it so much is a whole other subject. The question here was, how do you deal with it? I hope that that has helped somewhat with that question. But yes, remember that the world will be going through what you're going through now. The other thing I would say is, there is a certain cathartic element to crying, to or allowing that emotion to come out in a reaction to something that takes us through a grief. It is a death process. I mean, we are at the end of the world, the end of their world, but the end of that world, the end of the world that holds that darkness that we are grieving for. So it is a death process. So what I would say is, you are at a stage now where it's easier for you, because this is kind of in the process of being stopped. And on many levels it's been stopped. And on some levels it won't happen again. As in, there is a rescue occurring as we speak, a freeing. And if we want to look at Hansel and Gretel, we could perhaps say that if there are 10 Hansels and 10 Gretels, then 9 Hansels and 9 Gretels are in the process of being rescued. That kind of thing. You know, that there may not be a full rescue. I think you all know what I'm kind of talking about here, and I have had many questions about this, and that question is, you know, what about the children? And there are many stories and information going around that this rescue is a huge event and it's going on and it's happening now. I would say, yes, there's truth there. It isn't necessarily the way it's laid out on the internet, as in, this is happening, this has happened, this is going to happen. Nothing that is about the plan and the way it's done is laid out for us on the internet. It's not possible to do that, because this is an operation in process. I'm going to tell you what the 9 have told me about this. I have obviously questioned them many times. Okay, so the first thing was, when I asked them, I get no response, no denying, no, that's, you know, they'll show me an energy that this is false, this is fake, and then they'll teach me to be able to look psychically to see that this is false or fake. Neither was there an energy that is in alignment with truth, allowing me to move into a viewing where I can see if something is true and accurate. It's a neutral sort of pause response, which is kind of nothing, but it's not nothing. It's something, but it's something I can't see. So I would question them further. What I actually do see is like a silver bar. It just sits there like a silver bar. I don't really know what the silver bar means. It could potentially be an aspect to the vertical pillar of the matrix, which is Excalibur the sword, but it could be the bar of a cage. You know, I mean, it could be a merge of the two. I don't know. I haven't analysed fully the silver bar. And then, if any of you have seen that film Minority Report with Tom Cruise, and you've got these precogs, and then there's a part where Tom Cruise goes with the precog, and they're running away, they're trying to get away, and there's they're trying to chase them, and then there's a balloon seller coming across. And the precog says, wait, 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 and then says, go. And they walk at exactly the same time as the balloon seller. So that person who's looking for them can't see them because they're behind the balloons. You can go and find that clip, I'm sure, somewhere, Minority Report. That's about divine timing. This is what the 9 said to me. They show me the silver bar, and they say, wait, 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 in the same voice as the precog in Minority Report. And that's an interesting thing, because they use films to tell us what they're doing, to program us, to brainwash us. So can the light use films to give us clues and information about things. So that's where I am with the 9 still. I only can assume this is an ongoing process. Wait, 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 said in that way is wait, meaning it's divine timing. The information has to be given in divine timing. So I can't answer the question that is being asked of me, which is this true about the children being rescued? You know, about the ships, Mercy and Comfort and the tunnels and all of those things. I don't know. all I can give you is what the 9 have told me, which is wait, wait, wait. They're not denying it. I'm not seeing a fake screen here. There may be some infiltration. And as I said, anything you see online that lays it out for you as a document or as a person saying this is what happened and this is how it happened, and or this is how it's going to happen. Yes, there's truth there, but it isn't going to be exactly how it's shown. This is a larger scale operation. So from what I'm saying here, I'm kind of saying that yes, I'm kind of there with this as a potential correct situation. But from the 9, this is about divine timing, and it's an operation I cannot see. So I'm not being told yet about that. Is there anything else I can say about that? Oh yes, I did go into meditation over the last week, and I was meditating on something else. And whilst in that meditation, I saw one thing, and it was one child being rescued from a situation like Hansel and Gretel. She was being rescued. It was a girl of around 10 or 11 years old. I saw one girl being rescued. And then I found out later that Trump did actually respond to a question about trafficking, and did say that one girl had been freed. And I feel that that's the girl I saw. So there's stuff going on. Is it on the large scale, as in thousands of children? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm not being told. I'm not being shown. I'm lending my energy that this is affirmative, you know, that this is what's being said is truth. But I think we have to be careful not to lend our belief system to it. I've seen people see one document and then they've sent it to me. Magenta, oh my gosh, this is such relief. Look at this, it's happened, it's true. What I would say is, I would love to be able to get on my knees right now and say thank you to every higher dimensional being out there for this situation. I would love nothing more than for it to be true. But I am saving my rejoicing and my thankfulness for this when I have all of the information I need to know for a fact that it's correct. And I don't, because the information I get from the 9 is wait. So I have to wait. So what I would say there is be patient, divine timing. I'm not going to allow myself to say this is definitely happening or that this is definitely not happening. However, I did see the one girl. Trump has actually confirmed that. There is stuff going on. Why is it divine timing? Because there are so many plots and plans in place coming in from the dark and the light that it's just very difficult to say when something will occur, how it will occur, why it will occur, if it will occur. This is huge, and there's so much going on. The 9 actually said to me yesterday, buckle up, put on your seatbelt. We're going for a roller coaster ride. They said that to me yesterday, which is the 16th of April. So things are speeding up. Things are going faster. Information downloading and incoming information is huge. What's happening is so fast that, you know, if you go for a walk for an hour and come back to your computer, you'll have missed something. It's that profound. But we have to remember to surf these waves and not get caught up in them. Like, oh, there's waves everywhere. Which wave do I grab? Let's take it smooth and let's just go through this as easily and as harmoniously as we can. It's not easy, I know. That's that question anyway. Next question. So this is kind of beginner stuff. But I have got beginners watching my videos that have just woken up. So I'm delivering information for them as well. Do we start red pillings as soon as we wake up? Okay, number 1, if you are falling apart and you are in a terrible state and you are absolutely not coping, and I'm not talking about feeling the grief, integrating the emotion and crying. I'm talking about moving into paranoia, deep fear, and all of that stuff. No offense to the people who are saying there are weird demonic noises coming through my microphone, and that this is a terrible symbol behind me, this blue butterfly. I'm not saying you particularly, but that's bordering on ungrounded thinking, or it's yeah, it's just slightly ungrounded, really. I mean, I can understand why you might think a motorbike roaring through my microphone is a demon. So yeah, I mean, it's minor ungroundedness, easily remedied, but ungrounded behavior can move into paranoia, and it can move into personality disorders and very dangerous distorted thinking. If you are there, and you may not even know you're there. Some people are so distorted they don't even know that they're in a distortion. But if you realize that things are not focused for you yet, don't be red pilling anyone. However, if you are taking this in a balanced way, and that, you know, if you're crying and you're going through all that grief or shock or horror or disbelief, but you do come to a place of knowing, yes, you can start red pilling as soon as you wake up. Really, you judge, is this person ready to hear this information? No, they're not. Is this person ready to hear this information? Oh, it might be that I could just tell them one thing, two things. So spoon feeding, starting off slow, but be aware that this is a great awakening, and this is, we are doing our role within it. We don't want to just get you know, a microphone and stand on a podium and scream to the community. Sometimes we can do that, and it's difficult at the moment under lockdown anyway. But do your bit. I mean, every one of you listening to this is going to be so different. It's very difficult for me to tell you how to red pill someone or whether you should red pill them. Oh, and for complete newbies, what does red pill mean? In case you're lost here. The film The Matrix, where Morpheus offers the pills to Neo, and he says, you know, this is a blue pill and this is a red pill. So I'm going to offer you both of them. Now you can take the blue pill and you will wake up in your bed and your life will be completely normal and you will just go back to your old life. And that's fine. And lots of people want that blue pill right now. Or you can take the red pill. And if you take the red pill, then you'll know what I know, or then your life will never be the same again, or whatever Morpheus says. And as we know, if we've seen The Matrix, Neo takes the red pill. Now, if you've never seen this film and you are now awakened, go watch it, because you'll be absolutely astounded at the truth and the information that's delivered in that film. I mean, it's just non-stop downloads, non-stop information. One of the most profound things is when Morpheus says, Neo takes the pill and what's happening, and it's not Morpheus, it's the other guy who says, you know, hold on to your seatbelts or something, Kansas is going bye-bye. So that's what's happening. That's what happens when you take the red pill. Kansas goes bye-bye. You are taken into a spin, like Dorothy in the Twister. You are taken up into that house, into that twister, and you land in Kansas, or the other way around. Kansas is going bye-bye, as in Kansas, the fairyland, the, you know, little candy land with all the little munchkins, that's going bye-bye. We're going to the real world. So that's kind of what happens to us when we wake up. The illusion is broken down. So, okay, we have another question here. This is a big one, so probably be the last question I will answer in this particular video. Can the ascension be stopped? Are we on a false timeline? How can we be sure this is not really the New World Order? I have spoken about this before, so go back to the last few videos and you'll see that this has been discussed, but I will go through this. Can the ascension be stopped? Okay, it's not always a good idea to give a yes or no answer, because many things don't have a yes or no answer. There's always a bit of a yes and a bit of a no. When it comes to an individual who is not attempting to polarize within the service to self polarity, a negative individual, those that are doing these things, if you are not one of those people, then for you, The ascension cannot be stopped. The answer is actually no on that. Doesn't mean you are going to go through an ascension process all the way. There is partly ascension, somewhat ascension. Waking up to any of this stuff, you might think you've just discovered some truth, or you've taken a red pill, or you've become woke, but any of this is actually ascension. You are on the path to ascension. If you watch my last video, you will see that there are 3 steps to ascension in lockdown. Step 1 is awakening, as in learning about the Cabal and the dark plan, understanding the dark plan. That's step 1 in an ascension process. So if you are aware of any of this, you're ascending. You may have come in through the technology that's above 4G. You may have come in through one of the black box programs. You may have come in through chemtrails, or the false antidotes that they put in your arm with a needle. Trying to speak in code here. You may have come in through holistic living. You may have come in through the virus itself and the way that viruses replicate, and flus and things. So you've come in through medicine area. You may have come in because you've seen things in your own life, because you work in one of the frontline sectors, which are the healthcare, police, and other similar jobs. And yeah, healthcare, police, and military, really. But police is all of the emergency services, first responders, all of that group, and military. If you're somewhere in those areas, and are there light workers there? Are there people that are waking up and taking an ascension process and being red pilled? Of course, yes. They're in every sector, every walk of life. Media, very important, the ones in media. I mean, you won't believe some of the things they're going to do. It's unbelievable. And it's great. As I said in the last video, awakening and ascension, it has a wonderful component, and those who've been on this path for a while are able to use that wonderful side to it to go through this. But it also has a very difficult and challenging aspect to it. That is, you know, this is the most challenging lifetime you will have had in this particular linear experience for Earth. If you are oh, well, that's a whole other subject. I mean, but yes, this is the most difficult journey you will have taken in this particular reality. When one looks at Earth in a linear sense, there are other realities where you will have done this. But in this particular reality, where Earth, from start to finish of humanity on Earth, and there is no start or finish, but in this sector, this is the most difficult lifetime for you. So can the ascension be stopped? So from that point of view, no, because it's already started. You can't sort of jump in and catch it. And if you look at the analogies of dominoes falling, how can you stop the dominoes falling? I mean, I'm not talking about literally putting your hand in and stopping them. I mean, you know, looking at them all falling down, how do you stop that? How do you stop a snowball from rolling down a hill? These metaphors might not be the best, because I guess there are ways you could stop them. Now, the 9 did talk to me about this. What they actually said to me, I asked them this, and what they said to me was to understand the word inevitability. Inevitability. Now, inevitability means something can't be stopped. Something must happen. Something will happen. They said to me, mathematical inevitability. I don't really understand that. I've had a look at some mathematical equations that might add up to an inevitable equation. Can't get my head around it at this point. Some of you might understand what I mean, so I'm going to give you that message from the 9, mathematical inevitability. But rather than looking at mathematical inevitable equations on the internet, I can see things a little bit more when they show me visionary images. So what I see here is, and this is to do with the next question, are we on a false timeline, and how can we be sure this is not really the New World Order? I have kind of addressed that, but I will go to that again. So are we on a false timeline? Can the ascension be stopped? So what the 9 have shown me is prior to 2012, so going to 2011 and before that, timelines kind of moved in a one-track sense. You could see them and jump from one to another and change realities from them. So if you had a choice between doing A, B, and C, and you could choose A, and then A would lead you to another section of timelines where you could choose again A, B, or C, if you were able to see your timelines and see your future. And you do this through the inner technology, the pineal gland. So that's how the timelines were. But from 2012 and beyond 2012, things have changed. Everything has headed towards a convergence of timelines. So all of these timelines are no longer tracks in front of you, but they move into like a circle. And there's a big circle, which is actually a spiral. And then there are rings around this circle, and you jump into a ring, and then you move to another ring and another ring. If you imagine a pond that's still water, and you get a pebble and you throw the pebble in the middle of the pond, makes a big splash, and then ripples come out. It's like that. So since 2012, we've been on these rings, these ripples, where everything is happening faster. Where we are now is actually almost at the very core. We're not quite at the core yet, but we are very much at the core. If you look at a dartboard, are we in the bullseye? No, we'd be on the little bit outside the bullseye. I don't play darts, but anyway, trying to use an analogy here, it's difficult to explain when you're looking at timelines. So what the nine is saying to me is that convergence, the core of the convergence is an inevitability. All of these timelines, you can jump from A, B, and C, and you can create all these different choices. But once you get further and further into the convergence, there aren't any choices anymore. I don't mean that you can't make individual choices. You can, but everyone on the planet starts to make the same choice. We are now seeing that. Everyone on the planet knows about the virus. Everyone on the planet has been put into lockdown, or most people. Everyone will be affected by lockdown in some way or another. What we're looking at here is ascension. Now, bearing in mind, spiritually aware individuals, we know what ascension is, and I'm not really going there with the determination and explanation of ascension. I'm talking about ascension on its most basic level. Ascension is awakening. Ascensioning is moving upwards in one's knowledge, expanding one's mind. So when you look at that, you can see that at the core of that spiral, everyone is waking up. That's the inevitability. Whether they move through a full Stargate ascension or part ascension, whether they find out about higher beings, open the heart, move into the DNA activations, golden mean frequencies, etc., everyone's on the ascension path. Everyone's moving to the great awakening, which then triggers more and more ascension waves. And that convergence then begins to spiral down and create a new reality, which is what we're doing. So the core of that spiral is the inevitability. Well, you can't stop that. I mean, that's like throwing a pebble in a pond and stopping the ripples. Yes, you might have some amazing wizardry or technology or magic where you could try and stop it. And that is what they are doing. They're trying to stop this. They're trying to change the timeline from the convergence, which leads to a great awakening and an ascension process for everybody, into mitigating it as much as possible and having as least amount of people waking up as possible. Every single thing they do to try to stop the awakening is triggering the awakening. Everything is backfiring. Everything is catch-22. They know it, they see it, and they're trying their best to navigate it. All they can really do now is delay it as much as possible, which is what they're doing. Everything you see around you today, what's happening to you today at the shops, when you try and go and buy a loaf of bread and you have to queue up and you're social distancing, all of this is part of them trying to mitigate the damage from their point of view. It's like, okay, there's going to be a great awakening. Everyone's going to wake up. Everyone's going to go through an ascension process. Everyone's going to see what we've done. How can we make this as least bad as we possibly can is kind of where they're going. And some of them, it's like, well, we're going down, we'll take you with us kind of thing. They've tried everything to change this timeline. Okay, so are we on a false timeline? Well, yes, in a way, no, in another way. That convergence can't be stopped, and we're heading towards it. That is the organic timeline. That's the ascension process, and that's the one we're on, and that is not false, and we're on it. But as I've said in other videos, it's been hijacked. And I've explained how it's been hijacked through the fear of the people and the siphoning of the energy, and trying to create chaos and disaster and all of the things that they're doing. So are we on a false timeline? What they've done is, through the hijacking, using technologies as well as what they're doing to the people, it creates a sort of add-on to the ascension timeline. It kind of adds on an extra frequency that kind of holds the ascension timeline down, slowing down. I'm laughing because the technology that they're using and what they're doing is actually speeding it up. They're trying to slow it down, and it's speeding it up. It's actually creating momentum, and they're trying to stop the momentum, and it's creating the momentum. That's because the core of the convergence is ascension, and that is everything you do creates ascension. Everything you do, every probability you look at creates the same outcome. There is nothing you can do, which is why the 9 are saying mathematical inevitability. I do not understand that on a mathematical level. I haven't got a clue. I was useless at maths. But that is what they are saying. Mathematical inevitability. It cannot be stopped. But they're trying so hard, and everything they do is backfiring in huge instantaneous speed. So what they would have done before, going back a few years, is do something and it will backfire on them like a few months or years later, or several weeks later. Everything's backfiring like immediately now. Everything they're doing is like bang, it's backfiring straight away. They create this particular false belief, and it's like, no, that's not false, I'm going to create the truth. Or they try to bring in this particular law or try to take a step, and it's like, no, and everything is being counteracted. The antidote is being offered instantly by more and more and more people. So no, ascension can't be stopped. Are we on a false timeline? We are not. No, we are on a real timeline. It's the ascension timeline. It's the paradise timeline. But they're hijacking it, trying their hardest to create what they wanted in their timeline, which is what the 9 call the New World Order Armageddon timeline. No, we're not on that, but they're trying to bleed things through, but none of it's working. None of it is working. And I know that there are so many of you that don't see this. You don't see this picture. Perhaps, you haven't worked with the pineal gland in the way that you need to be able to sort of articulate all this. I know many of you do see this. Many of you see this. But for those of you who don't, it's good to go and find someone who does. And then what you would do is, when you listen to them talk, you work out, is this true? Is this person speaking truth? Is this person completely nuts, totally crazy and insane? Or is this person actually speaking truth? Only you can decide that. So, but this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm being shown when I look at these probabilities. And when we come to inevitability, the 9 did say to understand inevitability as a mathematical concept, look at the other mathematical concepts. So probability means it's very likely going to happen. So when I look at timelines, I see the most probable outcome. Doesn't always mean it's going to happen. And I'm talking about going back a while, before 2012, somewhat after 2012, it was more difficult. But now, to look at a probability, I mean, the probabilities are collapsing into one. There's only one inevitability. The probabilities are going and are being replaced into an inevitability. So probability means it's very likely going to happen. We're seeing lots of these, but as I said, they're all inevitabilities. It's an inevitability, not a probability. A possibility, it could happen. Infinite possibility is all the possibilities one can create within a reality. An inevitability is it's inevitable. It's where the probabilities collapse and become inevitabilities. And that's what's happening to us now. So what else can I say about that? Probability, possibility, infinite possibility, inevitability. Yeah, inevitability people will say the timelines are set, meaning something's going to happen. that, yes, you could say that, but that's slightly different. When you go back and look at the timelines as individual linear tracks, to say the timeline is set, it kind of means that that's going to happen as an inevitability on, but it isn't really an inevitability. It's a probability, a high probability on that timeline. And when a probability gets to say 99%, then it's highly likely that's going to happen. So we could say the timeline is set. An inevitability isn't something that's happening on one timeline. It's all the timelines converging together and collapsing because all the probabilities are becoming an inevitability. That doesn't mean that your life is going to be mapped out for you in the sense that it's inevitable. There's still choices within the individual life, but all the choices are leading to the inevitability, which is the same thing for everyone, which is ascension, which is the Great Awakening. So, can ascension be stopped? Nope. Are we on a false timeline? No. It's been hijacked. Yes. But is the timeline false? Nope, it is not. How can we be sure this is not really the New World Order? Well, we can be sure when we understand everything that I have just said, because the New World Order is on another timeline. It's the Armageddon timeline, which is what they were trying to get, trying to create. It's a false timeline. They're trying to hook that onto us. But how do you stop the ripples from coming out from the pebble from the middle of the pond? How do you stop the dominoes falling? How do you stop the snowball from going down the hill and gathering momentum and lots of snow? That's how we know we're not on the New World Order timeline, meaning this isn't New World Order. It's the hijacking, as I have said before. So I guess really, because of the inevitability, I'm going to keep repeating myself over and over again whenever I get asked questions. However, they seem to be the questions that fit with the information that I'm being shown and I'm getting. So yeah, they're the questions I've gone through for this video. Obviously, I will be back with more. So thank you everyone for listening to me ramble on, and wishing you lots of love and lots of happiness and peace wherever you are. I'm with you all, as I said before. Lots of love. Bye.